Hey fellow riblets, it's me, Tom, from, don't tell anybody, but from Target Prime Rib. And today is the 26th of November, day before Thanksgiving. And I figured I would do a small video, just because it's been a few days since I came back from my sister's and did a video. So I just wanted to say hello to my riblets, and I hope that anybody that, will have a happy Thanksgiving no matter what, whether you're spending time with family or like me, just spending the time alone, which I'm okay with. I've had worse. At least I'm not spending time alone in the hospital, right? So, not to make anybody feel sorry or anything like that, but, it's not the best experience in the world. So if you have any family members that actually is incapacitated, that's in the hospital, make sure you spend time, you go in for just a little bit at least, and you spend some time with them. All right. Don't let them think that you forgot about them. All right. So, but I hope everybody does have a happy Thanksgiving. Make sure that you do, that you enjoy the whole experience. Yeah. So I am out in the park right now. As you can see, I'm out here, and it is a little wet outside. And yes, I am in some, believe it or not, I am in some pain. There's definitely some kind of cold or something like that I have, but I just had to do at least a short walk, get myself out of the house. I was in there all day yesterday, even though I did the Zoom calls and stuff. I don't know if you could tell by looking at me, but I was not feeling very well. I'm a little bit better now. And hopefully I'll be really good for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to doing, it seems like the vote everybody has is for me to do a live, and I'm hoping a lot of people come on and join me, because then if we are alone for that day, or even if we're not, it's going to feel like we're all celebrating it together, and, I hope that that's what happens, and I'm going to be doing, 2 meals, you'll probably know within the 6-hour time frame. I might do 3, but and these are just my ways of making things. This is just for me. I'm just letting you guys in on how I do it for me. There is no way do you need to make your food the same way. Okay, so don't think that it's a wrong way to do it. Just think it's a different way of doing it. It's pretty simple. And everything. So I will, I am gonna try to make some, actually I already made it, but I'm adding some cinnamon to it. Even though that's not carnivore, I think it's not the worst thing in the world for me to put into my, Cinnamon does not affect me. So I think that I'm okay with having that. I'm only gonna have like a little dash, both in what I'm gonna attempt to make carnivore ice cream. Not with the ice cream maker, but I'm going to attempt to make carnivore ice cream. That's going to probably take a while because I don't know how long it's going to be to whip that ice cream into shape, And I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to do some carnivore eggnog. So I'll make the eggnog first, make 2 batches, and then I'll take a cup of eggnog, have that with my first meal, and I'm going to have some or not even with my first meal. I'm going to have it. My first meal, I'll probably just have a cup of coffee with some butter in it. But for my first meal, I am going to actually make some heart attack steak. And then I'm going to go from there. And I'm going to make, on my second meal, I'm going to make some heart attack chicken. And I use the same tallow, the same grease that I did with the beef, because I'm not worried about it being used a second time with the chicken. I talked to Rick, Charger Mopar, and he thinks as long as the chicken's thawed out, it should take no more than like 10-15 minutes to cook. The steak should take no longer than 5 to 6 minutes to cook. So we're going to have, and I'll probably go more of the 5 minutes because I do like my steak black and blue, but it's going to be with all the oil, with all the fat saturated inside it. I do have the pot. I'm going to take it out tonight or today and make sure that it's all good. And I'm going to also, like put a lid, and let it be able to do, and let all the saturation get into that steak, get into that chicken. And it doesn't sound like I'm having very much, but I am good. I am good. If, I was going to have some eggs, but I want to reserve the eggs for the eggnog tomorrow and for the ice cream. So I probably won't have eggs today. And the steak is huge. So the most I might do is I might spend a couple dollars and get some like pork rinds or something like that at the Quick Check that I have. I have a little bit. I did actually get the, if I didn't tell anybody, I did get the EBT, the food stamps, finally late, but it came. So that's why I was able to get so much burgers and stuff like that and replenish my, my meals for the month. So I think that's back. The government's obviously opened up again, and all is good. I again thank everybody that helped me while I was in this predicament. It's gratifying that people do care, and although I didn't want, well, I shouldn't say that. Although other people probably needed the help more than I do, I am still very grateful for people caring about me and giving me the help and everything like that. Pretty soon it's going to be my carniversary. It's coming up. And I'm going to, sorry about that. Hold on one second. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. I decided that I wanted to walk to the other bench. As you can see, I'm over by that other section where that new entrance is. So, yeah, so I'm here now, and like I was saying before, so my carniversary is in just a little over a month away, January 1st, and I'm gonna have a pretty special guest and everything like that. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I'm going to be doing to make it even more special. I mean, to me, 1 year is pretty good. I mean, I know a lot of you are more than 1 year, and I get that, but I'm sure that when you reached 1 year, I'm sure you guys even were like it was like worth celebrating, and it's pretty, it's pretty special, and it doesn't hurt, to celebrate your accomplishments, and everything. So, I'm trying to do my best. I'm not overwhelming myself. If I can do a video here and there, if I can do a live and everything, it is my lives that make things better. As you can see, I don't know if you can see all the leaves falling around me, but they're falling definitely. Most of them are falling in front of me, and I don't feel like turning the camera around again. Everything is okay. I'm noticing some more grays in my beard just by watching this video as I'm making it, and I don't know. It is drizzling a little bit, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't hurt to get a little wet or anything. Sorry about my hair being a mess. I didn't really comb my hair before putting the hat on, because that's one good thing about wearing a hat is you don't have to worry about the hair. And yes, in honor of Erin, I do have the Booby Goat sweatshirt on. Of course, it's my only sweatshirt I have besides the one with the paint on it and the other one, the gray sweatshirt. But this is my favorite thus far. So don't get a big head there, Erin. Life is good. Life is very good. Like I said, I want to do a kick-ass video. I like to have a very good live stream. It is going to be New Year's Day, so I can't see Jen wanting to spend more than the hour. If she does, great. I'm happy for that. And things are coming up the horizon. I just had an interview on Carnivore Evolution, and thank you for that. And it was with Coach Mark Enos that I got into that interview. So thank you, Mark. And hopefully things will come from that. Just cross your fingers, and I'm very, very grateful. Very grateful to him, to Victoria, that interviewed me. I'm sorry, Victoria, I keep on forgetting your last name. I think it said Osborne, but I don't think it's that. So if I do, if I got that wrong, I do. But she's actually Carnivore Evolution, which is a great name, because aren't we all evolving, from this? Most of us evolved from being on this crappy diet. We evolved, and we're evolving. I shouldn't say we evolved, because we're not fully evolved. None of us are. I'm definitely not fully healed. And I know Mark had mentioned in the interview that he thinks I should be a lot further than I am. So for whatever reason I'm not, I don't know. But you know what? This is a journey, and sometimes people are slower on the path than others. But I don't, that's fine. A lot of people think that way, and maybe they're right, but what can I do about it? I'm doing everything I can, and I think part of the problem is tweaking, doing these little tweaks. Every once in a while I do these tweaks, and they put me back even further. So I think I have to go with my instinct and my gut and just do what I need to do, and just getting a little something off my camera lens, which made it look like it was in my eye. And just go, just go with it, I'm actually going to, I keep on forgetting the test, but it's basically a fasting insulin test. Thanks to one of my great friends. He's helping me get that test done while I am having some financial issues. Not huge. I will get out of it. It's just a matter of, I'm just hitting into a streak where, my debts, my bills are going up in value, up in price, and my earnings with being on disability is going down, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to start working a regular job, because frankly, with disability, you're kind of capped. You make as much as you make, and you could only do so much to make more. Where with an hourly job, you can work. If you want to work overtime, you can work overtime. If you want to work on a day that pays time and a half, well then, yeah, you can make a little extra money. You don't think of it that way, but there's no cap. And if I want to get a job and get a raise, I can do that. I can look for another job that pays more than what I'm getting, and, to be capped at how much you're earning is pretty problematic. And I'm sure a lot of you guys understand that and get that, and the ones that don't, God bless you, but life is good. Life is very good. Again, this is a last minute video, so it probably isn't being put together too well, and everything, but I needed to get out. I needed to go out in the sunshine, even though there's not much sun out, but it is a nice day out. It's not like I'm wearing a winter coat or anything like that. I'm just wearing my sweatshirt, and keeping as warm as possible and everything, and just doing what I have to do, you know. If I don't, like, again, I'm going to do a live. For how long, I don't know. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to record the first meal, but I won't do a live with the first meal, only because I'm going to do it before I go to work. I have to be at work at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to do that around 6. I'll wake up when I wake up, and I'm going to do it around then. And then when I get home, so that's why I'm not doing the 6-hour eating window tomorrow. It's probably going to be more of an 8-hour eating window, or if it's a little longer, that's fine. Basically, what I'm supposed to be doing is, I guess we do have to segue a little bit. I've been having a little problem with my CGM. Ends up that my doctor currently, for some reason, wouldn't sign off, or kept on signing off on my script to get more CGMs. Now, the problem is this. The CGM company that's supplying the CGMs is calling a doctor that's no longer there. I think I've mentioned this to you guys before. Because of my Medicare, I go to a clinic, okay? Which normally the clinic is fine. It does what it does, and especially since I advocate for my own self for the most part, I'm not like, I never see the same doctor. If I see the same doctor twice, it's a rarity, okay? And it's always a different doctor. Well, they're calling the doctor that's no longer there. They're calling the doctor that's been graduated and has moved on, okay? And even if she is there, she's no longer working with me, all right? And I tried telling them that you're better off calling the clinic and finding out who the doctor is currently. It's always going to be a different doctor every single time, okay? Now, they probably could do a method where they don't have to get a signature every single time, It's something where the doctor has to call them and say, no, don't give any more CGMs. But other than that, they probably could do something. And I don't think anybody can tell me that's, if it wasn't for red tape, something could be done. So I know all about red tape, but that doesn't defend or excuse the reason why things are being the way they are. Okay, so that being said, so they keep on trying to get, and she's not giving the script because she's no longer my doctor. All right, and so I had to call the clinic, and they're going to talk to the people taking care of it, and they're going to talk to the nurse, and they got a fax machine to be able to fax the script over right to the people. But how long that's going to take, I don't know. And unfortunately, you're only allowed to replace any CGMs like about 3 times, and I already exhausted that 3 times, because they're not foolproof and things do happen. You have to replace them, And so when my CGM broke while I was at my sister's, well, actually, I lasted with my sister's. I was fine. When I got home and my last CGM broke, actually didn't stay on me. It lasted for 2 days, and that was it. I had to go to finger sticks. So I ended up getting the directions from the guy that's helping me lower my, and in a way, this might actually be a blessing in disguise. Now I'll tell you why. Because I'm not looking at my sugars every 5 minutes. I'm not looking at them constantly. And one of the things they're trying to teach is don't jump to just taking insulin, don't panic. In other words, if your sugar's a little higher than normal, my problem isn't really that it's higher than normal. If it was only doing it once or twice, I'd be fine. But if I'm seeing it be higher consistently, that makes me a little nervous. Now, granted, when I had the CGM, I was able to see how much it is across the line, and it, there wasn't really too many spikes. It was like pretty much level. And so that's actually pretty good. Even if it's high, it's still level. And so I have lowered I'm taking my insulin, because the only time I really check my sugar is 4 different times. I check it in the morning when I first wake up, and I check it 2 hours after my first meal and 2 hours after my second meal. All right. Now, I am a little concerned because it's not going back to baseline. So today, for example, my sugar was, in the morning, my sugar was at 196. So I am worried, don't get me wrong. So anybody thinking I'm not worried, I am worried. Which brings my friend in onto the picture. It was 196, but then when I checked it 2 hours after eating, it was 230. So if my insulin was doing well, and I wasn't resistant, then it probably would have I would have been my own insulin, and it would have gone back to the 190, at least back to the 196. It shouldn't go, and it's not quite over 30, but it's a little bit over 30. I mean, it's not quite like way over 30, which Dr. Nelson, he mentions to, like, it really wants to stay with, like, it go up 30 and then come back down again. It did not do that. But it's hard to tell, so CGM is good, but at the same time, like, not being so overly panicked with it. All right, so I checked it twice today, obviously. Now, the only other time I'm going to check my sugar is if I feel it being very, very low. Because if it's super, super low, I'm not going to lie, I will do something that's quickly going to bring it up a little bit. And the method I do has been working for me. It doesn't, I mean, if it's the insulin talking, whatever. But, I don't really get those glucose tablets or anything like that. I had them, and I'll be honest with you, when I had them, I kind of was like, when I had them before I started all this, and I would actually, I was like, okay, I'm just going to have one, and that should be enough. Or I'm going to break it in half and have that, and that should be enough. And theoretically, that is enough. But I get so panicky that I had the whole bottle, so guess what? I'm not having just one. I'm having like 3 or 4. Okay? And then it brings my sugars way up, and then it's panicky. If I do the candy store thing, I don't have, I can't, if I get a nonpareil, I'm looking at how much money I have for the rest of the week, and I don't have enough to get another nonpareil, or another Oreo cookie. All right, so all I'm able to have is one, basically, unless I want to break my bank. Because after the build and everything like that, I never have enough to get too much of the coffee or get stuff. So I have to kind of do that budget. So I only do it when my sugars are really low. But that being said, I am not going to take it if my sugars are low or I'm feeling low. I'm not going to take it just because I'm feeling low. I'm going to first test my blood sugar out and see where it's at before I actually make the decision. If it's nowhere near, if it's not 50 or under, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to go with my day. All right. So, so how my friend is helping me out. Someone tells me it's going to rain really hard. Excuse me. I apologize. He's actually helping me get a blood test, and and I hope to pay. I'm going to do whatever I can to pay him back, but or at least try to, But the thing is, one of the tests that the doctor keeps on turning down is a fasting insulin test. Now, it's a different doctor every time, so I do keep on trying, and until I can get that doctor, it's like, okay, yeah, we should do that. And I've had it too, where doctors would approve it, and then the doctor that followed them takes it off the list. So, so in a way, this is actually pretty gratifying. So I'm going to get a fasting insulin test, finally. And I think there's another test too that I'm supposed to be getting. So, but it will tell us where my if I'm not mistaken with the test, it'll tell me where, and I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at names. I've learned them, but I don't really remember terminology and stuff like that. So, it doesn't mean that I'm ignorant. It just means that I don't remember the names of different things. And, but I do remember what they're going to do for me. And supposedly this test will tell me where my insulin is and how it's producing. So if I'm producing my own, like how much of the insulin I'm producing on myself and not needing to put any in. Now, if I'm type 2 diabetes, if I get it correctly, I should have some production. But how much, I don't know. But so I have that test coming up on December 4th. Okay. And I'm going to find a way to record something about it. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to record, during the thing, because not everybody's going to be as receptive. But, on having it on me recording on camera or anything like that. But we'll see, everything. And it's actually a pretty good idea too, because one of the things I like to do is, once I get this, this report and everything like that, I will get it and I will show it to the doctor that's helping me out right now, because I figured that it would give him an awareness and him a thing, like, because it might show something that he might be like, okay, I guess you're not really ready yet, and let's go back to what we were doing and rewind a little bit, which is fine. I just want to get my goal is 2 goals. It was 1 goal, now it's 2 goals. My goal is to get my A1C down to at least 5.4. At least. No, actually that's actually wrong. At the most 5.4. Obviously I don't want to go higher than 5.4. So 5.4 at the most. And I want to get myself from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. I want to get myself to be able to do. Now, will that help me lose some weight? It might, but like I said in the last interview, it's not weight loss, it's really my factor. I mean, if I gained 50 more pounds, I would be a little problematic. I'd be a little worried. But if I don't lose anything, but I feel better and I'm doing better and things are happening, then that's good. Now, am I still going through some things? Yes. Did I expect to go through some things? I don't know. I really wasn't having any expectations towards it, I mean, that's all I can say. But my path is my path, and and this is it's not the same, just a metaphor, so to speak, but I'm staying on this road and I'm going to keep on going. And even if there's obstacles along the way, I'm just staying on the path. And I'm just gonna, if I have to go through the obstacles slowly, or if I need to slow down, it will all be good. And this whole journey will be worth it. So, I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Like I said, I'm going to do a small live, and I probably will make a couple of videos. I think I'm going to do videos on top with the lives, because I have my computer and my phone, so I can actually do both. And I think that this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship between me and myself. So, live, love, heal, and eat the meat. All right, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.